Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are coming to you from the 64th edition of the Knoxville Nationals here at the Knoxville Raceway. My name is Mike Melton from DirtTrackDigest.com, alongside our fifth place finisher, Logan Schuhart, and of course, Jeremy Elliott from SprintCarUnlimited.com. And Logan, let's start right off. Not a bad end of the night, man. You fell back a little bit there, but come back, rally back late in that feature, ended up in the top 5.
Yeah, it's very tough to get a top 5 here at the Knoxville Nationals. So, I mean, there's a little bit of disappointment for sure. Starting third, I felt like we could have a good shot to, for the win. I feel like there was some very good cars up front. Obviously, the 10 car was really, really good. But, I mean, after our qualifying night, I was kind of unsure. I felt like, we're catching one of the best in the business. So, you don't want to change too much, but my gut told me that we weren't as good as we needed to be. But at the same time, you don't want to go the wrong direction and kind of throw yourself, hurt yourself more than help yourself. So I kind of knew that we weren't as good as we needed to be. I felt like we were decent. I got back by Corey right there before the caution came out for the halfway point, and had to give that spot back. But and then the restart just didn't go very good. I got to the bottom of 1 and 2. I feel like I followed the 41. The 14 BC was on the outside, and then Rico got to the outside too. And when we came out of 2, I just felt like I was in a bad spot. On defense, had to get to the top as quick as possible, because I think the 41 went to the bottom. The 14 BC did, and then I had Rico on the outside. So I tried to drive across the track, and it just wasn't stuck like I needed to be. I kind of just felt like I hit ice and slid across the track and got above the cushion. And
yeah, you hit that cushion. You hit that. That could have been even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost a bunch of spots, so that was bad. But kind of rallied back a little bit towards the end.
Rallying back like that. Does that kind of, can you take something away from that? Obviously, starting in the top 5. Starting third overall, you want to contend for the win, obviously. But to fall back like that, a lot of people, that would have been the end of their Knoxville Nationals. You're able to save it. Can you take anything away from being able to battle back against really good cars?
Well, there's obviously a little bit of strategy to it when you're thinking about the halfway point and beyond that. And once we got halfway through the second 25 there, you don't want to just pound the top of this place, especially not tonight. Sometimes you can, but when they cut the top down, the top was kind of choppy and had some sharp. It didn't feel good. It felt like had some sharper pieces of clay in it. I'm sure that's what happened to the 57 and maybe some other cars, I'm not sure, but I didn't want to go up there. I felt like I was spinning in the cushion instead of riding with it. When the car's good, you're kind of riding in the cushion, you're keeping the tires underneath of you, rolling in the gas and rolling around the cushion with momentum, and I didn't feel that way. I felt like I was spinning in it, but when it got to that point, the last five laps there, what I got to lose. So I felt like I just got to stand on the gas and try and rip the top as hard as I could, and I felt like I was spinning in it. It doesn't feel good, but it's faster, and I passed some cars and kind of taking a chance of blowing a tire, but I was kind of pissed off at that point.
It's a matter of just going for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about the break. It looked like right prior to the break, your car was coming to life, and you got up there alongside the guys running second and third, and the break just kind of fell at the wrong time for you, because you probably could have had them down here coming off the bottom. Like, your car was one of the few in that first half that was really good on the bottom.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated. I felt, it's tough for the guys making the calls when the caution comes out, but I felt like I had the 14 BC and he was kind of on defense mode, and I felt like I was getting away from him at that point, kind of when the caution came out. When we came back to the finish line, I felt like I had third place, but it is what it is. That's how it works out. So I was a little frustrated with that, but then like I said, I just got a bad restart afterwards, and I feel like the halfway point, we made some calls and we did some stuff that we wouldn't normally do here. It's a team effort. I can put the blame on myself, whatever. It's just a team decision. I feel like we were doing what we thought was right in the situation to make ourselves better, and we just made the wrong call. That's how it goes sometimes, and we'll learn by it. We had a couple, we had three races here before tonight, other than our qualifying night, and it's just tough. These guys run here all year long, and they get really good here. We saw that with the guy that won. They're obviously the fastest car. Ryan did a really good job, but we just weren't as good as we needed to be. We felt like we were going in the right direction. We just got to work on our program. So I love this place. I love this event, and we'll take 5th, I guess, this year.
And he mentioned it. Ryan Timms is your winner. 18-year-old Ryan Timms getting the job done. Rico Avery second. David Gravel was third. Just double checking my fourth.
He came from 21st to third.
And then it was Carson Mestido back there in fourth. And, of course, Logan Schuhart finishing 5th.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Timms was good all week. Mm-hmm. And I think Logan obviously saw that as well. A lot of guys were talking about how fast Ryan was. He was up by 4 seconds. Some people said, oh, guys are just kind of hanging around. He was putting them on him the whole race. Were you surprised how easily he was able to get away?
I never saw him, so it's
wow.
It's not even on the restart I was focused on Carson. I got to Carson and Corey Day there right before the red came out for the halfway point, and felt like I was racing good with them, but I never even saw Ryan. So he looked really good on his qualifying night. I know his car looked like it was kind of squatted on the left rear. The 83's been doing that really good. It seems like they sit there and they get a lot of drive from that. And for people that don't know, lots of times you sit on the left rear too hard, you can lose your right rear stick, and it seems like those cars are doing a really good job at keeping the right rear underneath of it, but sitting on the left rear at the same time. And that was kind of the problem that we had. Especially as the shocks got hot, tires got hot, after that halfway point, I felt like I was just standing the left rear up. The more I ran the bottom, or the more I plugged it in the top, and it would stand the left side up, the worse I got. So, but those cars, Ryan, the 10 car, they obviously have something figured out to keep that thing sitting down and rotating at the same time.
Talk about the end of your race, getting back up there and then having a shot. I mean, you had a shot you could see, that battle right there was 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We're all right together. You guys were sliding each other 3 wide, doing crazy stuff there at the end, all trying to get to that final spot on the podium. Because again, Ryan kind of got out there, obviously way out there. And then you had, Rico, once he got the second, kind of put a gap on you guys. But that race beyond that was fantastic. As someone here to watch, as a media member, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you start to get to that attitude where, you're going to take the strategy out of it and just gas it up.
Don't care.
It seems like we go a little better at that point. But I don't want to do nothing dumb either. I've done, I'm 32. I've done stuff in my career where I'm like, I gas it up and just go for it. It doesn't work very well lots of times. But there's a time and place for it, and that was the time and place.
Take us out.
All right. Well, you know what? This is my happiest, saddest day of the year. I start the happiest, and now I am the saddest because we are officially complete here from the 64th edition of the Knoxville Nationals. 355 days, I think. 354 I get to come back.
I don't care. I'm going to be on a plane at 6 a.m.
Yeah, you're ready to go. Logan's ready for a break, I'm sure. But for Jeremy Elliott from SprintCarUnlimited.com, for Logan Schuhart, my name is Mike Mount from DirtTrackDigest.com. Thank you for being with us all week. We hope you've enjoyed these videos as much as we had fun making them. And I got to say at this point, until next year here from the Knoxville Raceway.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. I'm Jeremy Elliott, and normally we do a lead-in with the topics we're going to discuss. You know what? I'm not going to do that today. We all know what's going on. We could talk about Ryan Timms winning the Nationals, and of course, the big news of the day, Donny Schatz is let go from Tony Stewart Racing. We have 2 stories on SprintCarUnlimited.com. I talked to Schatz probably about 45 minutes before their release from Tony Stewart Racing came out. And then later in the day, after the first story was out, I talked to Tony Stewart. So 2 stories up, check them out. And we're going to go right to the chat and to the phone because I think it's going to be a jam-packed show. So I don't need to take any time prepping it. So let's go. Let's get started. In all seriousness, does Donny roll out his family car for this weekend? I doubt it highly because I don't even know if he has it anymore. He said he's told me that he has no interest in fielding his own team anymore. So I don't I don't think you're going to see that. Does he jump in one of his niece's cars just to get through Ogilvy and Jackson? Maybe. I think there's a couple of different options there, but no, I don't think we're going to see Donny Schatz open up with the family deal anymore. Okay, Kelly on line 1. Kelly, how are you?
Not too bad. How you doing, Jeremy?
Busy. It's the best way to describe it.
I bet.
Yes.
I've been meaning to call you for a couple of weeks, but there was a guy over in Indiana. He ran USAC, and he had a tire test done. It came back negative. I can't think of his name right off the hand, but I got a problem with these tire tests. I mean, they send the sample off.
Okay.
And I guess they compare them to, Hoosier sample
Benchmark.
of a new tire.
It's called a benchmark.
Benchmark, correct. They can say, well, there's something else in the tire. We don't know what it is, but there's something else in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that could be anything, I mean, we all know that Simple Green does something to the tire that sets off an alarm. But does anyone really know if Simple Green does anything to enhance the performance of the tire?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows that or not. And if Simple Green, sets off an alarm, the chemicals in Simple Green, that could be anywhere, car wash, any kind of soap that's used around a shop. I got a problem with them withholding, forfeiting the winnings and a fine, and them not being able to tell you what's in the tire. I'm sure, I would think that a chemist would be able to tell you what else is in it.
So, couple things here.
Okay.
Hoosier sets the benchmark, and it's the variances and what's in the tire and what it's supposed to meet. Okay, as long as you're within that variance and that benchmark, you're good to go. I'll address the Simple Green. Don't use it. I've been at drivers' meetings where they've said, don't use it. So if you use it, that's on you. Whether they can tell you what's in it or not. If they tell you not to use something, the All-Star Circuit of Champions, the old All-Star Circuit of Champions, it got to the point where they said, don't use it. Central Pennsylvania, don't use it. So, regardless of what's in it, you don't use it. It softens tires. And I've seen guys use it.
Do we know that?
I've talked to crew chiefs.
It changes. Okay.
Yeah, I talked to crew chiefs about it. And it's if they tell you not to use something, don't tempt fate. Now, as for the other part of it, I don't need to know what's in it. Here's the problem I have with it. First off, where you get your tires, let's say you get it from another team. Could be altered. Let's say you get it from, some have said they've got them off the Hoosier truck. I don't know how true that is, but I do know some have gotten them from other teams, and then they've come back dirty. That's where I have a little bit of a problem with it. But again, it's buyer beware. It's no different than a car. You're responsible for how you spend your money. So do I trust the labs? I've heard different things about some of the labs that have been used, but at this point, it's the best system we've got. I think too, there's an expense. I think they can just tell that it doesn't meet the benchmark. And if that's outside the benchmark, then you're clipped. That's it. You got to be careful. I mean, there is some onus on the team to be careful, and some cheat. That's it.
Yeah.
Some cheat.
Yeah.
That's just, simple green is, in my opinion, that's a no-brainer not to use that.
Well, I'm sure the simple green. I mean, there's probably nobody really using the simple green, but and I'm not a chemist, but I don't know what's in simple green, but it's a degreaser, which can be at any car wash. I mean, or probably any kind of, cleaning product. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of where I got a problem with it. They don't have to tell you what's in it. I look at it like, you get a speeding ticket, they tell you how fast you're going. They just don't give you a speeding ticket, So, I mean, I think if they're going to do it, I think they need to, go all the way, tell you what's in it. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah. I mean, look, it would be nice. Sure. It would be nice to see where you're off or what's in it. I think that can maybe eliminate some problems, but to me, tire testing is more in place for a deterrent. If you could get people to not do it because there's a fear of getting clipped by it and getting caught, I think that's more of it than anything. I think drug testing, if it was still done, which it should be done, I think, I think again, it's a deterrent, and I do think you need these things in place so you have that deterrent. If you can't let the inmates run the asylum, you can't. It's just you got to have rules in place, and yes, I do agree. It would be nice if you could know where the tire sample was dirty, but I mean, that's a cost thing too, I'm sure. I am sure it's also a time thing as well, because you see guys get clipped, a week later or whatever it is. So that might draw out the process as well. So it's just a lot of variables, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And I just kind of felt bad for that guy. I mean, he said he didn't do anything wrong, or he didn't.
Well, they all
purposely. That. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's what they would say, I'm sure. But, the way USAC is you can appeal it, but if it still comes back, they double it. They double everything, double the fine, double everything. And so, I mean, that's really not an appeal, I mean.
No, I understand.
So, yeah. Jamie, I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
All right.
And
sounds
get
good.
it out there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yep. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your show.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye-bye. All right. What do we got next? With Donny out of the 15, is there any other car he could be successful in? I mean, that's going to depend on the situation. I think everything now is a good look at Ryan Timms. He was in his family car. Things weren't going well. He goes to the Shane Liebig number 10, hooks up with Shane Liebig, who's a car owner / crew chief. And he's exactly what that kid needed. He tears him down, builds him back up. He's obviously good with a wrench. His team knows what they're doing. They put a good piece on the track, and they have success. And I've said it many times. You can have the best crew chief, the best car owner with the most money, and the best driver, and it doesn't mean it's going to work. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where Donny Schatz goes from here. And honestly, at this point, I've been racking my brain for most of the day trying to figure out where he could go. There's not a lot of options out there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Explain what the deal was with the blend rule. Macri gets screwed and Madsen gets a pass. No, that is not what happened. The rule is with the World of Outlaws that if it occurs on the initial start, you go to the back. Once they get the race going, there's a blend rule used. And it is in the rule book. So now, do I think it's a dumb rule? Yeah, I do think it's a dumb rule. And I think it makes everything murky, again, for fans who might not have confidence in the rules being enforced. So I don't like the rule, but at least they followed the rule. On the initial start, you go to the rear. Madsen, it was during the race, so it's a blend rule. It's two different scenarios. Donny has no reason to keep racing. But he wants to. I talked to him today, and he plans to continue racing. While he might, obviously, I don't think his career is going to be made or broken from here on out. And he's done everything you could possibly do as a sprint car driver. He still wants to race. So I fully expect him to race. How damning would it be for World of Outlaws to have Gio leave and now potentially Donny? Is Wu in somewhat of a panic mode? I don't think there's any chance Donny Schatz leaves the Outlaws. Donny has been very vocal about his feelings on High Limit. I find it very hard to believe that he will entertain a team I think he would race around the Knoxville area before he'd race High Limit. I think there's almost no chance he would race High Limit, regardless of what car it was. I just don't think, he's said that many times that he is not in favor of what they're doing. He's been public about it. So I don't think that's going to be an option for him. Will Ryan Timms attempt a tour next year? I don't know if that team's built for that. I don't know if the money, Shane Liebig, I think, works a regular job. If I'm not mistaken, could be wrong on that. I don't know what his current status is, but he's not just a team owner. So he's a working class, workman-like guy. So I don't see a national tour in their future. And really, why would you? There's so many World of Outlaws events in the Midwest and down south that they can trek to when they have a chance. So I would be a little surprised if he ran a tour next year. All right. Oh, there we go. Chase Rodman on line 2. Chase, how are you?
Hey, Jeremy, long-time listener, first-time caller. How's it going tonight?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Well, it was great to see you a few times over in Knoxville. You walked by our campsite one time, and you looked like you were on the move, so I didn't stop to talk to you again.
Oh,
but,
that's fine.
I had to ask you because in my YouTube comment section for my video today, a lot of people, I mentioned that I thought Donny Schatz is the face of the Outlaws, and a lot of people seem to disagree with that statement in the comments, saying that Steve Kinser is the face of the Outlaws. My argument back was the fact that, when you go to a World of Outlaws race now, you don't see Steve Kinser in the pits. You see Donny Schatz. You've seen him win 10 championships. Steve Kinser hasn't raced an Outlaw show in almost 10 years. What would your thoughts be on that situation?
I think two things can be true at once. I agree with you, but I think it's because I notice a lot of people just don't remember Steve Kinser. Like they treat him like it's, oh yeah, he was good. No. Go watch the videos. He was beyond good. And I don't know if Donny Schatz is the face of the Outlaws anymore. Yeah, I think he's one of their guys, but I think right now it's David Gravel. I think it's Buddy Kofoid. I think it was Gio Scelzi. I think they're pushing these other guys now. And they were pushing Gio really hard for a while. He was in every ad. Donnie's not used in a lot of ads anymore. So while we think of Donny Schatz, yes, as a World of Outlaws driver, and I just had a question, don't know if you heard it, about him considering High Limit. I don't think that's in his future because he's been very vocal against High Limit. So I still think, yes, he's an Outlaws guy. Do I think he's their main guy or the face of the Outlaws right now? I think that ended about 3 years ago, when he was winning 5 races, it slipped a little bit, fell to 5th in the standings. I think now it's a new guard, and I think the Outlaws are pushing that new guard.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's probably a good idea on their side. I don't know. For as long as I've watched sprint car racing, it's always been it's always been Donny, and maybe I just kind of am stuck on that. But definitely some wild news today.
Yeah.
But I mean, wild news the last 3 days, I guess you could say. But this one blows it out of the water. Would you say this is like maybe the biggest storyline in like the last 10 years of sprint cars, or no?
Yes. I think, in fact, right before I jumped on the show tonight, I was having a discussion with somebody. I think this might be I know since I've writing, this is the biggest driver change ever. It's since I've been writing, which is 1997. So I can't think of another one that was this talked about, as many mentions. Now, granted, we didn't have social media and Facebook and all that stuff back then, but even just from a standpoint of people chatting about it, I just don't. Donny Schatz is a Mount Rushmore guy. How many Mount Rushmore guys have been fired? I'd have to go back to when Doug Wolfgang left the Weichert car. That was a pretty big deal because of the way that happened. I will say Lance DeWeese leaving the Kreitz car was huge, but it wasn't like this.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. I think DeWeese was definitely a big one, but Donny's another step up. I guess I'm just stuck on that Face of the Outlaws thing because, man, ever since I watched sprint cars, when he got in the TSR car, I was like 13 years old, and it's just kind of all I know. And so definitely a crazy news day. But Jeremy, thanks for taking my call, and we'll talk to you. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep, call me anytime. And yes, I mean, for me, Donny Schatz fits that face, but I just think for the masses, we're getting past that because guys are just outperforming him, and just the way the Outlaws are advertising their guys now.
Well, and I also think, Jeremy, sorry, that like what you said with the Steve thing was people are forgetting about Steve. Like new fans aren't remembering Steve. It's almost the same thing, I guess you could say, as Donny because he's not been winning and as prominent. So I guess it does make sense in just two different ways. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for taking my call, and have a good show.
Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. We got Bob on line 3. Bob, how are you?
Doing real good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Doing okay.
I was just going to tell you, I was watching earlier, and Chaz done a live show from up in South Dakota with Tim's and his car owner.
Yes.
And he asked him, are you going on a tour next year? And his answer was, not a chance in hell.
Yeah, there's no reason to do it. And
yeah,
that team isn't built for that. That's not what they are. And quite honestly, I've heard a lot of Tim's to TSR stuff. If I'm Ryan Timms, I'm going to stay with that team as long as I can. They built something.
Yeah. It was a real interesting show. The guy's kind of hard-assed. He said that Tim's don't want to get up in the morning. He shows up late, and he gets to mop out the back of the trailer for it. And then he said there was twice we sent him out to chop wood. And Chaz was like, chop wood? Yeah, literally chop wood. So,
and
he knows what
I'm going to piggyback that and say sometimes kids need that. They need a little.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they need that old school work. And look, if you're late, there's a penalty for it. When you go to a real job, you can't be late. You're going to get fired. So, yeah, I do know that Shane is an old school guy, and that's what I mean. I just don't think a tour fits that team at all.
Yeah, I'm 70. I raised 2 boys, so believe me, they're going to get by with whatever you let them get by with. So,
yep. All right.
But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted. Okay. Thanks for taking the call, and it's a good show as always.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. See you later.
Yep. All right. I know we got a lot in the chat. How will Sanders do at Tulare? I think he'll do fine at Tulare. I think I think they had some issues at Knoxville that they worked out. And I fully expect Sanders to be contending for the win at Tulare. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all. In fact, I expect top fives at worst, as long as nothing happens, of course. Donny Schatz to Bill Rose Motorsports. Come on, stop it. Stop it. How real is the Forbrook deal? I was told he didn't. I mean, I know Schatz shook down a motor for him at Knoxville Raceway recently in the test. We all heard about it. I mean, I think it could happen. I certainly think it could happen for a short amount of time. There's no way that's going to be the whole year or the whole rest of the year. There's no way. I don't think there's any way Forbrook can go to the West Coast. So I think maybe again to get through this weekend until something else comes along. I think, yes, that's possible. And I think it would be a good fit up in the Dakotas and at Jackson Motorplex. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next couple days. But yes, I think that would be a decent fit for a very short amount of time. Jeremy, what do you think are the chances that Gio would go to the 15 for Tony Stewart Racing? I think there would have to be some changes at Tony Stewart Racing from the standpoint of, look, I think drivers are being more selective. The good ones, the top guys. I think that they're being more selective about who's going to crew chief the car, who's going to, what's the situation like, what's the organization like. And I think TSR, obviously, they've gone a lot of directions over the last 5 years. It's not like they didn't make changes for Donny. I know there's this thing out there that Donny got screwed. Donny didn't get screwed. Okay. And I'm sure I'll get questions about this throughout the show, so I'll hit on it then. But I don't think it would be a slam dunk that Gio would go there. Gio's in a great situation now where he can vet all the teams that come to him. And he's going to pick the best situation with the best chance for him to win now and in the future. So crew chief is going to be huge. Organization's going to be huge. How the team has been faring over maybe the last couple of years is going to be huge. I don't think it's a slam dunk. No. And it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Was the separation mutual, or was this truly Tony's call? Follow-up, was the departure due to disagreements in the direction of the program, i.e. Ford Motors versus Chevy? Again, it's all in my stuff on SprintCarUnlimited.com. This was Tony's call. It was Tony's call. Donny was miserable. Tony wasn't happy. Now, was it amicable? Yeah, but it was Tony's call. All the way. Tony admitted that. His deal was to get Donny an opportunity to put something together for next year. And people have to understand that silly season isn't in November anymore. If you're waiting till November, you're done. Okay, you're not going to get anything good. So these teams are making moves earlier. Drivers are making moves earlier in an effort to put something together for next year. And I believe Tony when he said that, because they're not in a great situation by any stretch. So I think they're doing the same thing. Kerry Madsen's a good choice for this. He was with the team before. He's a veteran. He can evaluate. He gives good feedback. This is a chance for them to evaluate their program and for Schatz to go get something in 2026. So yes, it was Donny's call. As for the Ford, that was gone a couple months ago, and it didn't change anything. So, I mean, we can't just say, oh, it's the Ford's fault. So, sometimes things just run their course. Donny needs a crew chief. The only guy that can save him is Eric Prutzman. Eric once worked for TSR, so I could see that if there's a mutual interest. The problem with that is Eric Prutzman's enjoying what he's doing now. I don't think Eric Prutzman is, busting down doors trying to get back on the road. I talked to him in Central PAs with Ryan Newton. He comes up, he's here for a little bit, and he goes back to North Carolina. So I don't know if Eric Prutzman's ready to go out on the road again. So that could, again, it sounds great, but I mean, I think it would have to be a really, really good situation for Eric to, after a short amount of time doing what he's doing, to just go back to trekking up and down the road. Do you think with how sprint car racing is now, do you think anyone will be able to tie or beat Schatz's World of Outlaws championship records? If so, who? No, I don't think anybody's going to catch him. I think even 320 odd wins is going to be tough, or whatever number he has. He's over 300. I think that's going to be tough. Think about it. David Gravel's 32 or something like that. He's a little over 100. I mean, you're going to need somebody young who's winning now, like Kofoid. He's 23. I mean, think about how many wins he needs a year to catch Donny. That's just hard to do. How about Donny in a second 7S car? I mean, I don't know if they have the money or the funds to do that. I mean, it's easy to say he's done it before, but I don't know. And then that spreads Chris Windham thin again, because you got to have more crew guys. So there's that. I mean, that's what I mean. There's a lot of moving parts here. It's not as simple as just jumping in a car. I thought, okay, I know he's friends with Todd Quiring, but do you want to put a second 2 car on the track with David Grau? I mean, 2 cars is rough to do. There's only one organization that I think has been able to pull it off successfully, and that's KKR. Credit to Justin Adams, but they had people in place. I call him the fixer because he was the guy who kind of oversaw any problems with both teams. You've got to have people in place to make it work. 2-car teams are tough. I can get performance-based, but do we know if lack of performance is due to TSR diminishing its presence in dirt in favor of top fuel? I don't think they're lack for any resources. I don't think Tony Stewart just said, you know what, I'm putting no more money in dirt track racing. I don't think that happened. How does he diminish the presence? Why? Sold the All-Stars? I would have sold that thing too. It's tough to make money with that. You're going to be in Ohio, you're Pennsylvania, New York, and you're fighting against 2 national series. I would have sold that puppy too, probably quicker than he did. He still has Eldora. He still has the sprint car team. I don't think it's the diminishing presence is a reflection on the performance of the 15 car. I think they've had a lot of changes in the last 5-6 years. Ricky Warner, gone. Scuba, gone. Now you have Todd Devnich. And again, it just didn't work out. You had the Ford motor, gone. Now they have Chevys. Just a lot of organizational stuff going on, and that's tough to overcome. Again, you're dealing with different personalities. You're dealing with different situations, and it's tough to overcome. So I don't think Tony's presence or the fact that he runs NHRA and has an NHRA team has affected that team's performance. I think it's definitely they just haven't found the right combination and things aren't working. I know Ricky Warner leaving wasn't good. I think that's the biggest reason. And by the way, Donny was in favor of that. So he admitted that to me in a story. He said that. And he regrets it. So, again, just think it's a situation that ran its course. Tim should be in the TSR car now, or Jason Myers should get him for next year. Why? They couldn't. Why? Why would you do that? The 14 didn't perform this year. The 15 hasn't performed this year. Do we think Ryan Timms is just going to jump in the car and boom, magic's going to happen? I don't think that's the case. Look, the Ryan Timms story is a great story. And especially since he came out on fire, then he dropped, and now he's back on top again. But it was still one race. Okay? A big one, and I'm not diminishing what he's done. However, don't mess things up by going to another team. They have something good there. It works. At least as much as we know it works. And it looked awfully good Saturday. I think I'm going to stay put. I don't think the other two situations are better for him. Donnie's done. TSR will fold operations at the end of the season. Talking to Tony today, it didn't sound like a guy who was ready to fold the team. Because, okay, if he's gonna fold the team, why wouldn't he just do it now? Why would you put Kerry in place for the rest of the year to evaluate your program? Which is, I mean, you could have brought in another driver just to fill the void to get to the end of the World of Outlaws season. Look at the points. Does it really matter who they bring in? I think Kerry's there to help the program. I think Kerry's there to evaluate the program. And I got the impression from Tony Stewart that this isn't over yet. Like, he's not shutting it down. Now, could he get to that point? Sure. I'm not saying it 100% wouldn't, but I'm saying he didn't sound like a guy who was shutting it down, and he could have just shut it down now. And you could say, well, the money that he would lose. I would look at the money he would save. They wouldn't go to the West Coast. They wouldn't, I mean, hell, the money he makes with where he is in points, that's a motor and a car. That could be destroyed in one night. So it just doesn't look like a situation where they're going to shut it down. How about the quiet news of the day? Dylan Cisney finding a ride for the weekend. Yeah. It's funny. I was going to call Dylan Cisney this morning, and then it got kind of thrown sideways. Yes, Dylan Cisney will be in the 27S, the Stewart Racing Machine, and good. Anxious to see how he performs in that car up at Port Royal. Good to see him in a car. Opinion on the dream purse: $20,000 to win, $5,000 for second, $14.50 for seventh, dropping $25 per spot to 13th, then $10 a spot to 18th. Wow, I like the research. 20 to 24th will pay the same, $1,200. Pathetic. Not much incentive to pass. I can't disagree with your last statement that once you get to a certain point in the orders, might as well pull in, depending on how you're running, so on and so forth. So I agree with that. However, again, this goes back to something that was discussed many times over the last week. Came up on the live show, came up in the Steve Smith Senior tribute race at Lincoln. They put together a really good purse. Top heavy versus spreading it down through. I'm a big spread it down through guy, but I think, again, you have a sponsorship commitment there. If the sponsor comes to you and says, you're paying $20, my money's going up top, that's where it's going. And I do know there's races like that in central Pennsylvania. So while, yes, it doesn't look great, it's not a great look that it's, passing. It doesn't matter if you pass a bunch of guys in the back. Purses are tough to put together now because now 20,000 is nothing. That's the other problem. So, no, look, I get it. And the rule of thumb is second should be half of first. And to start should be 10% of first place. And we don't have that here. But again, there's sponsorship commitments. There's other things that go into building a purse. It's not easy. Yes, I've been critical of some purses. Again, this is why everybody loves Knoxville. $15,000 to make the A main. And then in the B main, you make a large chunk. So, I understand what you're saying. No, Sugar Bear, I am not starting late model unlimited. That's the last thing I want to do. Devin on line 4. Devin, what do you got?
Well, Jeremy, just wanted to say, how many more championships, how many more races, how many more crown jewel events do you think Donny would have won had TSR stayed the course instead of jumping over to the Ford program? I think Donny would have exceeded his record wins and championships.
Boy, I mean, it's revisionist history a little bit because we just don't know. But here's what I'm comfortable saying. Yes, I think he would have had more wins. No, I don't think he would have won a championship. I think there's a lot of things going on in this sport right now. I think the loss of Ricky Warner was huge. Now, I'm not saying that diminishes Donny Schatz as a driver. I think he's fantastic. And I think he can win without Ricky Warner. But I do think it's a piece. It's a definite piece. And here's something else that's changed. The driving style of the guys winning races, it's different. Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo, Rico Abreu, Kyle Larson. Those guys are aggressive guys. Then you get the tweeners. David Gravel's a tweener. Gio Scelzi's a tweener. Donny is not either of those. And I think I just don't think Donny's going to get it in there and mix it up from an aggressive standpoint with those guys. I just think the sport's changed. Now, I still think Donny Schatz can win races given the right situation. But from a championship, Brad Sweet was really good for those World of Outlaws titles. David Gravel was really good last year when he won that World of Outlaws title. Unless Ricky Warner, there's a lot of what ifs there. No Ford program, Ricky Warner staying intact, everything the same, sure. But I don't think it's just the Ford thing. Devin leave? I guess Devin left. Hopefully he liked my answer. Okay. What else do we got? We got Pete on line 5. Pete, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not going to ask how you're doing this week.
Thank you. It's fine. It's okay.
So, I mean, everyone is going to chat this Donny Schatz thing up to death. So I'm going to skip that and go back to Spencer Baston.
Okay.
What's he going to do now? I mean, are you hearing anything? I can't imagine he goes without a ride. Did you think this was did this come early? Did it come late? Did it come at just the right time? I mean, I can't say I'm shocked that it happened. Unfortunately, I like Spencer. But it felt like it was coming a lot more than I feel like the Schatz TSR thing was coming. It just felt like something was going to give there. And then, he seems to, JMR kind of alludes to the fact they want to stay on the high limit tour with Corey Day, but there's no way Corey can run all the races. So are they going to throw a fill-in driver in for five races that Corey can't be there? Or it just seems like there's a lot going on there. And it was like they kind of tried to give an explanation or a answer to all of it, but it didn't answer any of it, type of a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had a story on that late Saturday night. I had to thank Jason Myers for talking to me about it. He didn't have to. That's a sticky situation because what this does is, now, did I think it was rumored? It was rumored a lot. So am I surprised it happened? Not really. The timing doesn't look good because he made the Nationals a main, but this decision was made before that. And it wasn't released because they wanted the team and Baston to focus on the Knoxville Nationals. It's the biggest event in the sport. I think some of it,
good on them for that. I think. I mean, I think that's totally fair, and I think it probably helps them out. You don't have 60 people in the pits every night asking where you're going.
Yeah.
Drive your race car.
I agree with that. But what it does moving forward, you're right. Corey Day, even to finish the I don't know for sure if they're going to finish the high limit season. They need somebody for Skagit, Lernerville, and Lakeside. Lakeside's a 2-day show. Lernerville's a 2-day show, I believe. And Skagit is 3, I think. So,
and they're in a good spot for the franchise. I mean,
they're in a franchise.
Giving up some legit money. I mean,
but you gotta
real issues.
Yeah, you gotta have a fill-in driver, and I just don't know. Now, do you find someone on the West Coast and then try and find somebody in Pennsylvania and the Midwest? 3 different drivers, because it is based on owners' points. You could do that, but that's a logistical nightmare. Or do you find one?
Yeah, that's not easy.
No. And you got to find one guy. And then are they going to want to not run what they run, their normal car, just to do it? It is a logistical nightmare for Jason Myers. And then moving forward for next year, if they decide to stick with one car, Corey Day, we don't know his pavement schedule yet. So now are you going to get a guy basically as a fill-in when Corey Day can't run? They're in a bad spot as far as figuring out logistically what they're going to do. It's a worse position than TSR because they have a part-time driver in a sprint car. So, yeah, I mean, that's a difficult one to answer. I think they're going to figure it out on the fly. Kind of. They have Corey Day until the end of the month. So they have some weeks to figure. And look, they're going to get calls. Okay. They're definitely going to get calls.
Yeah.
As for Spencer Baston, I have heard Spencer Baston to a certain car. I'm not going to say what it is until I check it out. But I have heard a car, no Sugar Bear franchises aren't fantasy. They actually decide how they're paying the guys, which I'll get into that if somebody asks. But it's a difficult situation for JMR. I don't envy Jason Myers and how he's going to kind of negotiate the rest of the season and next year.
Well, I think there's a lot of, because, I mean, like 3 weeks ago, probably, I'm like, man, Spencer, I talked to you about it. Spencer's not doing what I thought he could or should or would, however you want to put it. He didn't set the world on fire this year. And I'm like, man, surely they'll get him out of the car at the end of the season, not really thinking, in August. But either way, it didn't even cross my mind until they made the announcement. And then Chase Rodman did the talk on it. Like, they are in their second year. They're basically in line for a charter. And then now this just flips that all upside down. And so, yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of stuff there as far as how that would go down. And yeah, that would be a nightmare. Almost, I don't know the car, so I don't really care what they do. It's a damn thing.
Well,
it almost begs the question, like, because of the franchise, would they be in a better position to have waited till the end of the year and just hope they, just kind of grit it out, grind their teeth, and go? But again, I don't know the car. I'm not paying the bills. They can do whatever they feel fit to do with it. But it definitely, I would rather be in Spencer's position right now than Jason Myers. I think, kind of like what you're saying. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in because, yeah, I mean, you put 3 different guys in a car for 7 races or whatever it is. I mean, that just sounds like a nightmare.
Well, here's something to consider. They said the same thing that Tony said today. They didn't want to run Spencer to the West Coast, an expensive trip. And also they wanted to give him a chance to get another ride for next year. And I think that's a change in the sport that, people need to kind of get used to, because it started happening a few years ago where, stuff started happening in July. some in May.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's no longer very newsy, quote unquote, down at Charlotte World Finals like it used to be. It's now happening early because so guys can go and get other rides for next year. Everything's bumped up 3-4 months. So I just
and I think that's good for all parties involved.
Sure.
I think
sure.
You don't hold a guy until January and then say, hey, just kidding. Can you pull your seat?
Just kidding.
You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
Not like that hasn't been done. Man, it seems like that's more of like a non-wing thing anymore, but it's happened. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I just, after I got to thinking of the logistics on the Jason Myers deal, I was like, oh my gosh, like this could turn. I mean, this could really
be a problem.
I guess make or break. I guess you should say. Yeah, I mean, it can be an issue for them.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be an issue for him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here on out with that deal.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll all land on their feet and they'll turn out all right. Appreciate you taking my call. Sure, it's been a busy day. The stories were great on the website.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being a subscriber. Thank you.
Absolutely. All righty, man. See ya.
Yep. Take care. All right. We got Chris on line 6. Chris, how are you?
Hey, got a question about sponsorship specific to the National Series, World of Outlaws, High Limit.
Okay.
The sport the past couple of years. Why is it that the big teams, the touring teams, they all have multiple sponsors? We don't see a sponsor on a car like we did certainly back in the NASCAR days. They all sound like auctioneers when they win a race, and then they're thanking their sponsors. I just find that curious as a newer fan.
It's funny. I had Bruce Ellis on the deep dive, and he said, as an announcer, he comes at it from a lot of different, a media guy, an announcer. He made the comment that sprint car racing isn't cool. We've taken the coolness out of it because we have to list 8 sponsors every time they hit the track. And I've heard more and more fans who are turned off to that. So I think series and announcers need to listen a little bit to their fan base. And I know this is kind of a little off your question, but it's not cool. If you ever saw the movie Social Network, which was about the start of Facebook, one of their things is they wanted to keep Facebook cool because when it loses that, it quote unquote jumps the shark and it's pretty much done. But yeah, you know what? I don't know. These things are expensive and they're getting more expensive. Tires now cost $380. I heard there's going to be another price hike at some point here. You need multiple sponsors to pay the bills. There's not enough sponsors to pay the freight. So you got to get multiple sponsors. And I think that's what's going on here. They're just trying to make ends meet, and it takes multiple companies to do it.
Good to know. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem, Chris. Thank you for calling. All right. What else do we got? I think Donnie will be in Forbrooks' car and just play in Knoxville area so he can help his nieces. That could be. I'm not going to disagree with that. I heard Forbrook didn't want to race until 2026, but I don't know. Things change when Donny Schatz becomes available. And I think if you're a driver who isn't David Gravel, Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo, or obviously Rico Abreu, somebody who owns their own team, you got to be worried. You got to be looking over your shoulder a little bit because Donny Schatz is available. Gio Scelzi is available. I think right now we have 2 drivers who they're going to be hot free agents. I don't know. I mean, just the caliber of these 2 drivers being available, it could make somebody fire somebody to get one of them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. Someone needs to snatch Tim's now. He's the next Kofoid. Ooh. I'm going to say no on that one. I am going to disagree. Again, great win on Saturday night. Ryan has been fast at Knoxville all year. if you take him out of that team, you're changing the situation. He has something good with Liebig. Don't change it. Don't mess it up. So Kofoid is won the most money this year, and he's winning races across the country. Wait till he gets to California. Think he's not going to win one on the West Coast? He's going to reach double-digit World of Outlaws wins this year. Let's pump the brakes. I think that is an unfair comparison for Ryan Timms. I think it's a great story, and I think Ryan Timms has come a long way as a driver, probably even as a person. I love the situation he's in. I think it's great. I think don't leave it. Ryan, don't leave it. Don't buy into it. Just stay and do what you're doing. It'll be interesting to see how he fares this week if he races. Because coming off the Knoxville Nationals, it's what do you do next? So I just think it's unfair to put that type of moniker on him right now. Let's enjoy the Knoxville Nationals. It was great, but let's not get carried away. Got to give it up for David Gravel and his crew. He rallies from almost the back to second after a horrible start for the week. Yeah, I'm not surprised. David Gravel's, I know people don't like him now and they think he's whatever. He's still the number one driver team in the sport. Okay? He is. He showed that again Saturday night, and he's just had some unfortunate luck at the Knoxville Nationals recently. So David Gravel's really good. How many years do you think it'll take for Ryan Timms to go either high limit or World of Outlaws racing? It won't be in that car. That is not a World of Outlaws or high limit car. Somebody alluded to it earlier. I guess Chaz did a video from up there and he asked him and he said, not in your life. So I didn't expect him to. I never expected him to go series racing. That's not what that team's built for. Does Curb Agajanian, stay with TSR or go with Donny? Good question. That I don't know. Good question. I don't have an answer for that. How long has Prutzman been with Ryan Newton? He was with Doug Hamaker and J&S Classics team, which is owned by Sandy Klein, and then he went over to Ryan Newton. Was it May? I believe it might have been sometime in May. I think that's when it was. He was definitely there for Speed Week. So I think it was sometime in May. Not 100% sure, but right in and around that area. So did you speak with Donny? He hasn't publicly released anything yet. Yes, it's on my website. I know it's $35 a year. I get it. Got to earn a living here because this is all I do. But we have plenty of content. And yes, I did talk to Donny. I talked to him twice, actually. I don't think he'd be upset. I talked to him. Yes, I'll tell you this. I talked to him yesterday, and he thought everything was fine. I called him again this morning because I got wind of stuff. And I said, did anything change? And he said, yes. So kind of, he was surprised. This wasn't something that happened at Knoxville. That's the misconception. So yes, I did talk to Donny and everything's on the website. Gio will end up with Jason Myers next year. Well, okay. So let's look at that. So are you not, is Corey Day not going to race a 410 sprint car? Because that's what has to happen. If they cut down to one team and Jason Myers sticks with it, which he said on Saturday, they're cutting down to one team and there will not be two cars on the road. Gio says he doesn't fit there. It's not going to be a fill-in driver for when Corey Day can't race. So going to have to pick. So that's a dilemma here with that thought. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying Corey Day will be out then. So unless it's maybe for 5 races, but for Corey to say run 30, it didn't sound like Jason Myers had any thought of doing that unless he brings back the car again. Who knows? How many phone calls do you make to drivers per day? I mean, it varies. Like this time of year, I'm calling at least 2 drivers probably a day. Now, today I talked to a few drivers. Some called me, and I get text messages about our rides open. I'm not going to say who they're coming from because I'm just not. I won't do that. I've come from a newspaper background, so you don't, when it's off the record, it's off the record. So, but I talk to a lot of drivers, but it really depends on the time of year. It's more than right now. It's 2 or 3 a day, and then I might call a team or something. Like I got to make a call. I got to make 2 calls tomorrow, and I may make the one today depending when I get off here. So it doesn't stop. I'm not a coal miner though. So Daniel on line 8. Daniel, what's up?
Hey, Jeremy, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. So I'm from the Wisconsin area, and I was wondering, why do you think so few IRA teams showed up to the Knoxville Nationals out of the original 20 or so that signed on with the series?
Probably competitive standpoint. It's just probably competing. I mean, how many times?
Okay.
I mean, how many times IRA doesn't run there? I mean, so I just think they probably feel a little overmatched. This current group. Just this current group. Like it used to be they'd come. But I think the current group, for some reason, maybe they think they can't compete. So they just don't come.
Yeah, it's interesting because I did see a couple of the teams made the trek over to Iowa, but I noticed that a lot of the top teams in the IRA just stayed home or maybe raced in other regional local areas that weekend, which I found kind of strange that like the seemingly lower budget, lower point teams that weren't running quite as good showed up, but then some of the better ones didn't.
Well, and I think too, it also gave guys a week off.
Yeah.
Regroup, whatever the case is. I just think Knoxville's tough. It's an expensive trip for a team. I know some of the central Pennsylvania teams, what it costs to go out there. Now, obviously not as bad for a team based in Wisconsin, but you're still got wear and tear. You still, it's still an expensive trip. You can make some decent money, yes, but I just think it's a competitive thing right now, and I think it's a money thing. And do they have a batch?
Gotcha.
Do they have a batch of races coming up?
Yes, they do. I believe this weekend they have a double header, and then I think they might not be off for like till late September or even October. So they're pretty booked coming up. So
I think that's another indication. Hey, we're saving it for our series.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was also wondering, so like as comparatively to like PA and the West Coast, typically Wisconsin teams and just like Midwest teams don't quite seem to hold up to the national teams as much as those other regions. Do you have any explanation for that, or do you just think it's a track deal or anything like that?
I think California has a lot of money. Okay, there's a lot of money in California. There's more money than there in California than Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania, I think too, when you come to Pennsylvania, you have a lot of half miles. You have a lot of bigger tracks. Like Williams Grove's tough to get a hold of. So our guys have a little bit of an advantage running there. The Grove is tough to get used to for traveling teams. Now, some guys have adapted pretty quick, but it took Brad Sweet how long to win at Williams Grove? I think Port Royal right now is really hard for traveling guys. It seems to be better for high limit guys than it does World of Outlaws guys. If Carson Macedo finishes 10th at Port Royal, it's like winning. That's how bad he is at Port Royal. So I think that helps our guys. I was at Wisconsin this year, and by the way, Plymouth Dirt Track, very impressed. I really enjoyed my trip to Wisconsin this year, and I like the tracks there. I just think I don't want to say easier. I just think it's tougher to run some of the tracks in Pennsylvania. And then out west, I mean, some of them are goat pass. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're bouncing around in hot laps. I mean, it is, I just think now you had Travis Aarons win the high limit race,
Yep.
and it was his home track. And what did he do after that? Nothing. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I just think he hit it and no disrespect to Travis. It was a great run. It was good. It was good content, obviously. And it's always good when you get an upset win. But I just think some of the teams are funded better in California and Pennsylvania. I think the tracks are a little more unique. And I just think the locals have a better chance.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah. Also, I want to mention that 141 is so I live about 30 minutes away from there, and it wasn't just that race that it was that technical and kind of comparatively odd to what you would usually see on a track like that. It's a very, very interesting track. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a larger even sprint car show there in a couple of years that draws in more cars, because it really produces some great racing for every division I've seen there.
No, it's good. I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed my trip to Wisconsin. I'm glad Brent Smith, my photographer who shoots a lot of stuff for SprintCarUnlimited.com, I travel with him a lot because he's a great photographer and a good guy, and we kind of have the same work ethic. But we really enjoyed our trip to Wisconsin, and I hope to get back there in the future.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed your time up here.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. If you're ever up there, check out Mississippi Thunder too. Very
okay. Yes, I've heard good things. Heard good things.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, nice talking with you, Jeremy. Hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. We have Gary on line 9. Gary, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
What you got?
Just a question. With Donny leaving now, does he take the number 15 with him, or does TSR keep that, or does he switch back over to the number 14?
Out of all the questions I asked those guys, that's the one I probably forgot. I have no idea what happens with that. I think if Donny go ahead.
I'll say I know Donny was number 15 long before TSR came, but I was just curious.
Well, TSR was a number 20 when it first started.
Yeah, 20 and then 14.
Yeah, and then 15.
I was just curious about the number 15.
I would suspect, my thought process is that once in these, I would assume that TSR would go to 14 and Donny would go to 15. That's my assumption. But for Donny, it's going to be whatever car he gets in. If he gets in a Forbrook car, it'll probably be 5. Maybe they change it. Maybe they don't. I don't know how attached they are to their numbers. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I was just curious if he ever came back on his own with his own operation, would he bring back the number 15 again?
I mean, he might look at it as a new beginning, and I don't see Donny putting together his own operation again.
Okay.
Yep, I don't see that.
Okay.
All right.
Just curious.
No problem. Thank
you.
Thank you very much for calling, Gary. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Yep. All right. What else do we got? We got John on line 10. John, how are you?
Doing fine.
Good.
Will Anthony McRibby in Pennsylvania back this weekend?
What's that? Say that again.
Well, where will Anthony McRibby be this weekend?
He'll be back in Pennsylvania. He's going to obviously run the Dream Race at Port Royal's $20,000. So he will be back in Central PA running Williams Grove and Port Royal.
Oh, that's all I wanted to know. I'd be happy to see him.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. All right, Phil on line 11. Phil, how are you?
Yeah. My question is about Houston Speedway. Was mentioned they're possibly bringing in some new dirt.
I've heard that.
Kind of excited for that. And then also between Houston and Jackson, crowd numbers have been down.
Okay.
Would they start like at 7:30 on a Sunday night and Friday night over at Jackson Motorplex? Would there be a real issue with starting like at 5:30, say 6 o'clock?
I think.
Do you think that would help numbers up? I mean, they're two of the nicest racetracks in the nation. I mean, Todd's done a great job with both them tracks. But just can't get the numbers to show up.
My concern with Jackson is if you start at 5:30 and it's a Friday night, are people going to go because of work, getting off work? That's
yes. Yeah.
Now, if you started at 5:30 on a Sunday, I mean, they've had trouble with the clay up there, dirt, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So 5:30.
Yes.
Now, if they get new clay, maybe that's okay. I don't know what they're getting. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm not opposed to starting warm-ups and stuff at 5:30. I think it's too early to start your heat races then. But Friday's tough to start that early because of work, people getting off work. And I think Sunday, I think it can be done, but definitely with the clay they have now, I think that would be a problem.
Right. Because I mean, they spend probably at least a good half hour, 40 minutes with, doing whatever to the track in between all these races. I mean, if these guys are that good, which, I mean, they get the Ryan Tims, they get Kerry Matson, they get the McCarroll boys, and some of them other guys, I mean, they should be good enough. They should be able to adapt somewhat. I would think to where they don't have to spend all that track prep, because Sunday night, you get out of there at midnight fighting traffic to get on the road. A lot of people I'm up at 4:30 in the morning,
right,
to go to work at 5.
Well,
so
I don't think it's adapting. I mean, if it rubbers up, it rubbers up. You don't adapt to that. I mean, everybody's going to run the same spot to go fast. So I don't think that's a driver issue. I think, look, you got to get your program done. I said this about the Knoxville Nationals, and I know some people didn't like it. I did a 90 at 9 today on it. The Nationals on Saturday was perfect. I know there's issues with
that was awesome.
Yeah, it was done at 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 on the East Coast. It was perfect. Now, granted, you could have some issues with the sun. They were going into turn 3, which they had on Saturday. The sun was out until 8 o'clock. So they had problems with it, but they worked around it. They waited. Bottom line is shows have got to get done earlier. It's just a fact. The new fans don't want to be there till midnight.
Right. And it's hard for families, to go as a family with their, say, younger children.
Sure.
And you're not getting done till 11:30 at night.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I was just curious if you knew anything about the dirt. And, Sunday I definitely get you could, the 5:30 start. I get having to probably work till 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Yes.
But, I mean, the numbers at Jackson at both spots this year have been not good. And I get Dirt Vision.
Yeah.
Everybody can watch from home. It's cheaper.
It is cheaper. And I think Jackson, the area, I think they deal a little bit with the area they're in. I'm not really 100% sure about Huset's, but
you would be very correct. Jackson does not have a lot to drag people there to get them to go to the races, say a little outlet mall or something or another.
Sure.
If they just had a little bit more, I think they could probably fill the stands again. I mean, them stands used to be full all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And then he reconfigured the track, and a lot of people aren't happy with that.
I hear
a lot of people like the old half mile that they had.
Yeah, but the racing wasn't great. At least that's what people say.
I didn't miss very many shows over there when it was a sprint car related show. Track was pretty wide open. Right now with the new configuration, the track gets about halfway up, and that's about it.
Right.
And I mean, I don't want to watch a bunch of guys following each other around the bottom, and that's basically about what you're getting.
Well, I mean,
last couple times the track's been better.
Yeah, it hasn't. I was there one weekend, and it was okay. It was okay. And I've watched some there that haven't been okay. I don't know. I don't know the answer for Jackson. I don't. Huset's people complain about the clay. If they get a new surface and it's good, I think that place is going to take off even more than it already does. I mean, obviously Todd puts a lot into it and puts a lot into these two facilities, and Jackson is a little more difficult, I think.
Yeah, no, I would have to totally agree. No, if they get some new clay to where they don't have to do near the track prep, in between the races and whatever, and it's probably just a boatload of rubber is all it is.
Right. Well,
with all the years it's been there, I mean, there's so much rubber in that track that you're going to run into issues.
No.
So.
No, we'll see.
Okay, well, that's all I had. I thank you very much for taking my call.
No problem, Phil. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
All right. Dirt Vision highlighted many high limit drivers at Knoxville, even showing graphic of Rico as fourth in high limit points. Other than Johnny, has this been a mellowing? I think on the Dirt Vision side, yes. I think on the competition side, no. I've heard Dirt Vision's a little looser. They do run them separately. It's within the same company under the same umbrella, but it is a little different. And I do think Connor Wade has been really good about, I think he's done a great job highlighting and just kind of being honest about what we're looking at. So I do think it's definitely the competition side from that standpoint. And Johnny, yes, Johnny doesn't do it, but Dirt Vision, I think, is a little looser. Does Schatz finish the season with the Outlaws, or does this end his season on tour? It's a great question. I don't think we know yet. Donny said to me today that once the news broke, he was pretty sure that his phone would be ringing. That's all I know as of now. I'm gonna wait a day, and probably I'll call Donnie probably later in the week. But I don't know. He said to me, if he's at Ogilvy, he's at Ogilvy. If he's not, he's not. So that's what I know as of now. Great to meet you at the Nationals when they were teching cars at Hard Knocks Friday night. Yep, it was a pleasure. Got to pick with you as a Kofoid fan, and you had some kind of words for Buddy. Thank you. I think Buddy's going to be an Outlaws champion within 2 to 3 years, max. All right. I can see Donnie pulling a ride that a car's not in the Woo Tour, but another bringing them on full time to Woo. The 1Z car would be a great addition. I think that car is pretty much done. I don't think you'll see the Zemco car again. So, no, I think Donnie's probably open to options, but I also think he wants to finish the World of Outlaws season. I think he's done it. He said 28 straight years or something like that. So I think he probably would prefer that. Jeremy, what do you think of this? JMR just let Spencer go. So could it be that he has already talked to Gio about next year after he gets done with the 7BC? Again, if they cut back to one car, they're not going to have a seat for Gio because Corey Day still runs. So unless something happens, with Corey Day running strictly asphalt and that car's open, I don't know if that can happen. That's the problem they're in if they don't have a second car at JMR. You think Casey Kane will put Donnie in the 9 car? I can't imagine Donny Schatz being a teammate of Brad Sweet. That's like oil and water there, especially after some of the high limit comments. I don't know if he fits TSR or no, I'm sorry, KKR. See, I'm already messing up. KKR. I don't know if he fits their mold necessarily. So I think that's a stretch. But hey, stranger things have happened. We didn't think we'd start the day with Donny Schatz getting let go either. With silly season taking place at this time of year, how can series adjust to make the overall point standings more meaningful? I don't think it has anything to do with the points. Like I saw somebody saying, well, the franchises don't mean anything because if they did, Jason Myers wouldn't do that. No, remember, it's owners' points. Both series based on owners' points. So I think they're making these moves just so they, as well as the drivers who are leaving the teams, can get something for next year. You know, getting things in place, figuring out their programs. I don't think it means the points aren't meaningful. Because if the owners are on tour, they're still getting points. Obviously, they're struggling. Guys like, you know, owners let go of drivers because they're not performing. So it doesn't matter anyway. I don't think it's that in depth. Why did Thomas Meserol not race in Knoxville? I heard he had a concussion. I'm not sure if that's the case. I saw him walking through the infield, but I thought it had something to do with that. Not 100% sure. Donnie in the 55 to replace Madsen. Well, I think Madsen owns half that, doesn't he? I think Vermeer and Madsen went together. I did a story in the offseason. He's part owner of that deal. That doesn't make much sense to me. What was the deal with Donnie not signing his contract this season? Donnie has told me that's been the case for a couple years now. Donnie's an interesting character. Okay. Donnie's an interesting guy. And I don't know. I think Donnie always talks about, you know, getting fired. Well, now it happened and he'd let himself go or whatever. But I just think Donnie's Donnie. And I don't have a definitive answer. He just doesn't do it. He's kind of a handshake guy. Jeremy, do you think Anthony Macri is going to be good this week, returning to Williams Grove and Port Royal? Yeah, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be in the hunt for the win both nights. Yeah, no way he can't. Hot take, Donnie wins a race in 2025, but not with a national touring series. Well, he only has, I think, 1 or 2 weeks, I think 1 week at Knoxville left. So, I don't think he's coming to Pennsylvania other than maybe with a national series. I could see him winning up in the Dakotas. If something doesn't come along where he's going to run a national series, I could see him winning up there. So, yeah, that's not out of the realm of possibility. How about David Gravel wrecking a car, driving hard to make a spot in the A main or in the main show, and then driving from 21st to 3rd? That's driving. Yeah, I mean, David Gravel is best driver team in the business now. I hit on this earlier, and I'm not surprised at all. Now, I don't think he had anything for Tim's. I'll say that. I don't, so. Do you think Donnie will win a national series race before the end of the season? That's dicey. That's really dicey. I think it depends who he goes to. Right? It's going to be difficult. I think there's a better chance he doesn't. It'd be the first time since I think 1997, I believe, that he doesn't win a series race. So it's going to be difficult at this point. Hey, Jeremy, great show. Do you know what chassis engine combo Tim's had? Oh, your ass. I do not off the top of my head. That's a misstep on my part, not asking or looking at it. I don't know if he has a triple X or not. I'm just not 100% sure. If anybody in the chat, help him out with that. Is there any news on Casey Kane putting someone in his car permanently? He said last week when I talked to him that it's sitting there waiting for him to race it when he wants to race it. So I don't know if he's going to put anybody else in it at this point. And again, crew members to work on it if it go race. Ty Wolfgang left. He's with Schoenberg now. We had that on SprintCarUnlimited.com yesterday. So I don't know, other than Casey, I don't know who would run it. Got to have a crew. Tim's mid-max chassis and speedways. There you go. Thank you very much, John G. Appreciate it. Randy on line 12. Randy, what do you got?
Hey, Jeremy, since everybody seems to think you're the fortune teller, can you just tell me what tomorrow's lottery numbers are?
I'm not a fortune teller. That's for sure.
All right. Appreciate the show.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. All I can do is speculate with what I know and what I know the situation these teams are in. That's about the best I can do. If I knew the lottery numbers, I probably wouldn't be on this show. All right. What else do we got? Do we see anything? I thought we were going to get through one without a Zeb Wise. Do we hear anything from Zeb Wise before the end of the season? No, I don't think we do. Not at all. I would be shocked if we do. Not shocked, surprised. I think he's enjoying what he's doing, and I think he's having a good time outside of racing. I think he's fine. What you think the chances are of Donny becoming owner driver again? I think they're very minimal. The only way I see that happening is if somebody contributes to it. Like if he shares ownership with somebody where he does not have to do all the work with it. He's 48 years old. He was born in 1977. I mean, he's that's an undertaking. So I just don't see it happening again. No, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't lie. Tell you what I know, and that's it. Any noise on Donny filling in for Brian Brown car during the absence? I could see him running one or two races, maybe. He will not go to the West Coast with that car. You know, Brian Brown owns his team. So I think if you ask Brian Brown, he'd love to have Donny running a couple races. But from what I gather, Brian Brown wants to be backed by the Tuscarora 50. Now, whether he is or not, I don't know. But I think obviously he's shooting for that. But again, he has wrist and hand trouble. You know, he has a fractured wrist and broken hand. So that's a pain threshold thing. So he's not, I don't think he's in a cast. I don't believe. I saw it on Twitter quick. He showed a picture, so I don't know the extent of that. But you know, we'll see how he is in a few weeks. Again, if Donny jumped in it for a few races, fine, but he's not going to go to the West Coast in it. Sammy looked good for a 69-year-old. I'm amazed by that. And what impressed me about Sammy the most was how he was around other cars. He wasn't twitchy and overmatched or where I should when I use the term overmatched, I don't think he was nervous. I don't think there was any. I was surprised he did as well as he did. I was surprised. Good for him. They look good for a 69-year-old. Yes. Now, I'm not saying every 69-year-old should go out there and race either. I believe in age limits just because of what we're dealing with now in these cars. But no, Sammy surprised me. Can we expect a story on Madsen on the website to go along with the Schatz Stewart stories? Possibly. Right now, I wanted to get both sides of that story. And Kerry's definitely a guy I would probably call tomorrow. That I said earlier that I had a couple calls to make. He is definitely on my list. All right. What is the next race you will get to attend in person? I will be, I'm jealous you're going to Placerville, but I will be at Williams Grove Friday and I will be at Port Royal on Saturday. What else do we got? Anything else? What's some things that you would change with Knoxville Nationals? I would keep the start time. I would keep everything as is for Saturday that I saw last week. Like the start time, they need to get done earlier. I like that. That would be the biggest thing. I would not change the invert. There was something else, and I was thinking about it over the weekend, and I have to remember what the hell it was. And that's because just, other stuff's on my mind. But let me get back to you on that. But it would be, I'd keep Saturday how it was this past week. That's the major thing. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Need to give a shout out to Cameron Martin. He put together a hell of a 2 weeks at Knoxville. Yeah. How about that? Rookie of the year. Cameron Martin looked excellent at Knoxville. He's 20-year-old agricultural student at Iowa State. And yeah, he put it in the Nationals. I mean, I know he kind of rode the time trial lap to that, made it through the B main, but he still had to stay there. And he passed 6 cars in the A main. I don't know how many dropped out or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Years from now, nobody's going to say how they got there. They're just going to say they got there. No, I was really impressed with Cameron Martin. And also, probably the guy I was impressed with the most was Jack Anderson. Remember that name. I got to do a story on him. I have the interview done. I just haven't been able to write it yet because of everything going on. Jack Anderson looked really good. I was really impressed. Another fan from Wisconsin. Any word on Beaver Dam Raceway? Is this it? Someone in line to buy? Haven't heard much of late. Not hearing much of late is a bad sign. He wants to sell it all in one, he doesn't want to break it up. Now, whether he would or not, I don't know, Scott Boyd, but I heard he wants to sell it all in one shot. So that could deter any takers from purchasing it. I haven't heard of anybody who's interested as of now. Where do you see the All-Stars in the next few years? Will they be back to the point where the better drivers will want to race full-time with them? The problem is you have 2 national series now, and the one national series runs 50 or runs 60 races. So I don't know. I think for them, unfortunately, I think the All-Stars are in a spot where they're going to have to raise purses, which I don't think they're built for that right now, to entice guys to do it. And I just think there's so many races now that pay more. There's no incentive to do it. There's no incentive to follow it. I like the schedule. It's 28 to 30 races. I like that. So you have breaks in between to go run these bigger races. But I just don't know if this is a series they want to follow because of all the other bigger races, whether it's the Attica Fremont Championship Series or Challenge Series, whatever the C means. I think it's Championship Series. And just the number of high limit World of Outlaws events in that region. I just don't know, even though they're not the same dates, do people want to be committed to the All-Stars? I wish them the best. I think it's a good deal that they're back. I just don't know, getting other drivers. I think it's a training ground for basically high limit. What else do we got? We got Wade on line 13. Wade, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of one of the callers that was talking about the Knoxville format and what changes he would make. One thing I would do, the first and two nights there where they have 60 guys in one qualifying group, I think is insanity. This day and age, where everyone's so equal, that just seems crazy that basically your whole weekend is a pill draw. You get a bad pill. I mean, even Kyle Larson, who some say is the best in the world, he has a bad pill draw. He can't pass in his heat. And the rest is history there. I just wanted to see your thoughts there.
Well, if you change into two groups, you're going to have to change. No, if you change that, it's two groups, it's going to change your whole format. The problem is it's not just one change then. You're going to have to change your entire format. That's where, because how do you line up your feature then? You're going to have.
I think it's something they should try to do then.
Yeah, but here's the thing about the
be
format.
Honest with you.
The good guys always end up front. Always. The good guys always end up front. If you were seeing these oddities, okay, but you had the same guys on Saturday night up front. You can save your night even if you go through the B main. Look at.
Well, here's one thing, and I'm not taking anything away from Ryan Timms, but he had a good pill draw, had a good heat. He wins the Nationals. Does he win from 10th?
I think he could have won.
He does. I know it's hypothetical, but does he?
I think he could have won from Des Moines. He started 8th. He started 8th in the prelim feature and won easily.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Look at Brad Sweet, for instance. Brad Sweet timed really well. Didn't make it through his heat race. He won the B main, yes, but he had to pass 13 cars in the A main to get up to 4th in points. I think we panic a lot about guys not making it through their heat race, and I get it. I do. I talked to Kyle Larson. He said he wasn't good at the beginning of the night. He thought there was more out there in time trials. I've watched Donny come out, and there were 51 cars there on Wednesday. I've seen Donny come out in the 40s, lay down a good lap, run well in his heat race, and get up front in the feature. I just think if the best cars weren't ending up front, then we have a conversation. Until that happens, David Gravel, if he doesn't crash, he's starting near the front, even if he goes through the B main.
Oh, there's no doubt. He would certainly have been one of the contenders for Tim's. Much as I hate to say it, because I'm not a big Gravel guy.
I think,
but that's a fact.
Here's something to think about, and I know clean air means something. I get it. Clean air means a lot, but Tim's fastest lap was 0.458 seconds ahead of the next closest guy, and he did it on lap 29. He didn't do it at the beginning of the race. He did it on lap 29. It was Tim's night. That car was excellent, and he did a good. I have no doubt they could have.
Taking anything away from
the only way he doesn't win that race. No. I get it. The only way he doesn't win is if he gets in a crash or something coming to the front. I thought he was that good. I talked to Carson Macedo in the airport, and I usually keep discussions private, obviously, but he said to me, I had nothing for him. Logan Schuchart in our post race said, I didn't even see him. And he finished 5th. It was just, he was the best car all week. So.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. I'm going to think about the Knoxville format a little more. Today's probably not the good day.
Yeah. A few other things going on for you.
Yeah. But no, I'll think about it.
Okay. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep. No problem.
Bye.
All right. Okay. What else do we got? Will on line.
How's it going?
Hey, Will, line 14. What do you got for me?
Well, High Limit's coming to Cali, and Justin Sanders has done really good at Chico this year. I would like to predict that he wins a main event at Chico during the Gold Cup.
I don't think that's out of line at all. I'm going to take it a step further and say that he wins a National Series race on the West Coast.
Yeah, his first National Series race on the West Coast, yes.
Correct.
I was wondering, you guys talk about, the Pennsylvania posse, and the guy was talking about the Wisconsin guys, and now, High Limit's coming to Cali. What does NARC have to offer to compete against High Limit?
I mean, we're going to see. I think Dominic Scelzi got going up in the Northwest a little bit. I think he'll be better if he runs those races, which I'm sure he will. I think Justin Sanders is a guy you got to watch. I don't know how many Northwest guys will come down for it, but to me, the top 2 guys for the California contingent, so to speak, is Dominic Scelzi and Justin Sanders.
I agree with you with the Justin Sanders, but Dominic Scelzi looks like he's on vacation.
He looked better. He looked better up in the Northwest recently. So does that carry over? I don't know.
No, well, he's running against. It's like when Kyle Larson comes to compete against IRA. That's basically what it is.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't. Now you know he's going to go win, and then you're going to have to call back in and say, "Oh, I was wrong." That's how it always works, buddy.
I sure hope not.
That's how it always works.
All right. Well, right. Well, I just would like to see, some more talk about the NARC posse or the narkers or whatever you want to call them to get into the conversation like the Pennsylvanians and the Indianas and the Ohio guys.
I think the Northwest guys are better than the NARC guys right now on the whole. I do.
I can't disagree with you because Trey Starks has been tearing everybody.
Well, I just think top to bottom, they're better. I think their younger drivers are better too. Although there's a couple guys in California I like. I like Austin Wood. He's one that jumps off the page to me in the Northwest. I think Hillier's good. I think Klatt's good. Schlotfeld's good. So I'm anxious to see how this swing goes.
So am I. I think for High Limit, especially losing a couple of their regulars to injury is going to shake things up pretty good. And with Sanders being in a really good car, even though his 2X car was really good at Chico, I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
I think he'll be in the car at Tulare, and I think he'll be back this weekend. I think he'll be in the car, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in his 2X after that. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see if your California guys respond.
Well, thanks for taking my call. Enjoy your show.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's start wrapping some stuff up. get a couple more comments and then or questions, and then we're gonna get out of here. I got to do the 90 at 9, and I'm sure my voice won't be around much longer. When is the last time the crown jewels were all won by non-touring drivers? Whew. Well, I only think there's 3 crown jewels. So look, Doug Wolfgang did it in '85. He swept them. That might be the last time that's happened. That might be the last time that's happened. I have to check that. That's actually a good question. Could be a top 50 thing. Jeremy, besides Skip Jackson and Brooke Tatnell, Max Dumpsney, would you consider Kerry Madsen the best to come out of Australia? I think Kerry and James McFadden. I think they're the 2 best. I think those 2. It's hard to differentiate between the 2. Kerry's been here longer. So Kerry has some really good runs in the Knoxville Nationals, some podium runs. Won a Kings Royal. James has looked really good. So I think it's between those 2. I haven't been around forever, but if Reitzel can break his foot and his nose in the same season and still somehow win the championship, would that be the most impressive champ run you've seen? It would definitely be one of futility. It definitely overcoming things, yes. But he's not going to win the driver's title. And he still has somebody in the car from an owner standpoint. He's only Ridge and Sons Racing's only missed 1 race. And they took the I'm not really sure how the driver end of it comes into it. I think it's 10 days or something like that for you can get those hardship points, those medical points. The team has somebody on the track. So I don't know. I mean, I think Rico Abreu, it's his to lose at this point. I don't know. We'll see. Brad Sweet's back though. And I still think Brad Sweet's going to win the drivers championship, owners championship. What is the age limit for World of Outlaws sprint car drivers? I think you got to be 16. Got to be 16 to run them. Don't have to say names, but is there more big changes coming? Nothing like this. I think there's a couple changes coming, yes. I think they won't have near the steam that we saw obviously today, or maybe even from the Spencer Basin standpoint. I think we're going to have some more, but I just don't think they're going to be huge. Like you're not going to be, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. So do you think Donny was let go because Tony got tired of hearing Donny be vocal about the team and their shortcomings? I believe it was more of a mutual thing than Tony's release made it. No, I talked to Tony for the story on SprintCarUnlimited.com, original quotes. He made a decision. He made the decision to let him go. And he did it, as he said in my story, for the reason of so Donny could put something together the rest of this year and into 2026. And the team, TSR, could also figure out their program and go a different direction. It wasn't working. And much like, hey, Tom Brady was let go from the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers was let go from Green Bay. Peyton Manning was let go from Indianapolis. It happens. It happens in sports. They were together for 17 and a half years. They said 18 years, about 17 and a half. Think about it this way. How many teams have stayed together that long? Not many. Very few that I can think of. So I just think it was time. I think it ran its course, and Donny or one of them had to make a decision. Either Donny had to quit or Tony had to let him go, and Tony let him go. They couldn't fix anything else. As he said, and it's in my story. There's a lot in there, a lot of meat on that bone. he said, we've changed everything but the chassis and the driver. So they made a driver change. Simple as that. Kerry Madsen and Tyler Swank reunited at a TSR 14. That would be, I mean, they won the King's Royal together. I believe they won the Ironman together. So who knows? And Jack Anderson repped Knoxville locals well. Yes, he did. I agree totally. I was very impressed with him, and I was impressed talking to him as well. Who won your picks contest? I didn't even get a chance. It was Brian Thompson. Won again. He's won it in the past. It was Brian Thompson, Ryan Farsley, who won last year's tickets, Knoxville tickets. And then there's a tie. So I have to do the tiebreakers. I have not done that yet. It was kind of busy today. That's on me. But it was Brian Thompson. Congratulations to him for winning the SprintCarUnlimited.com Month of Money contest. He gets 2 tickets to Knoxville next year. See, if you join SprintCarUnlimited.com, you also have a chance to play the Month of Money contest and win tickets. So there you go. Why did Cameron Martin win Rookie of the Nationals when Timms was rookie and won the whole thing? Ryan Timms was not a Nationals rookie. He made the A main for the first time. It was his third attempt. It was Cameron Martin's first Nationals. It has to be your first attempt. Jeremy Elliott, what's your thoughts on Cy Lynch and his driving at Knoxville? And was Ed upset with him destroying the car? I don't know if he was upset. Man, that was a bold move, Cotton. It was a bad move on Lynch's part. At that area of the track, it looked reminiscent, almost reminiscent, but James did come up a little bit. I mean, they were going for it, that's for sure. I wouldn't have pinched down like that. That's a dangerous spot to do that. I should buy Beaver Dam. Well, you guys better buy subscriptions because I don't have money to buy that joint. Nice place, though. I was glad I was able to get there. I like the Wisconsin tracks. I was really impressed with them. David Gravel got a late pill draw and put down a top 5 time. Fast cars usually go fast. Amen. Simple as that. Jeremy, do you think Caleb Henry is going to run away with the All-Star Championship over? I think Caleb Henry is going to win the title, yes. I think he looks really good. I think he's, again, California guy. So, yeah. Did they tech Gravel's car? When? They teched it Friday night. I don't know what they did on Saturday. It was a rat race down there. But I think they might have done it at the car. But, yeah, he was tech Friday night. How do you feel about Garrett Williamson's performance this year overall and at the Nationals? I think he's been an impressive rookie. I had Hunter Schoenberg winning the Rookie of the Year because I thought he was on a national, I just thought he was the pick and more experience, but Garrett Williamson's looked really good. Chris Wyndham's looked really good. I've been impressed with Garrett. I'm anxious to see how he progresses from this year to next year. Had a good run at the Nationals. It's a place he's obviously turned laps at before, but the Williamson team looks really good, and I like what I see so far, and I'm anxious to see how that carries over to next year. The West Coast is going to be kind of the telltale in the season for him. Tony is going to at least run the program through the end of the year for points money. Why would it end now? I agree. Plus, here's the thing. The point money wouldn't cover the cost of what it's going to run the rest of the year. Let's say Kerry, whatever happens, they get in a crash. How How much do you think a car's? How much is a car? $100,000? You know, whatever. I mean, I don't know if he's going. He didn't sound like a guy who was not going to field a team. Because at this point, why wouldn't you just keep Donny till the end of the year? He made a decision. Donny didn't. Why would you change it now? It makes no sense. That's the other thing with this. You just Donny at the end of the year, and then you tell Donny, hey, go do your thing. It's not what Tony did. So look, there's a chance anything can happen, but he didn't sound like a guy who was going to shelve that team. All right. I'll take a couple more. What are your crown jewels? It's the Kings Royal, Knoxville Nationals, Williams Grove National Open. The other races, Tuscarora 50 hasn't paid long enough. The Gold Cup is the next closest, but they dropped down to their purse was cut for a long time, and now Brad Sweet's getting it back up there. So in a few years, I'll do that again. And Houston just needs history. The events don't have the history yet. You need to have history, big paying shows, and you do need to have everybody there. So to me, it's those three and nothing else right now. What happened to the Canaric Racing 29? They shut it down. They just went a different direction. They shut it down. Shut down the operation. Sold out. Could you see David and Donny as teammates? Would Todd run a second car? Do I think he would? Yeah, I mean, I think he would. I don't know how his current team would feel about it. And again, you need people. You need people to work on it. Now, could you find some people? I'm sure. But I have a hard time with that because two-car teams are dicey. I only think one team's been able to pull that off, and that's KKR. And I just don't know if David Gravel and Cody Jacobs would sign off on that. Maybe they would, but it seems like too much under one roof. All right. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on Cap Henry this season? It looks good in Ohio. He's the best driver in the Ohio region in that car. No doubt about it. With drivers filling in for other drivers, will there be enough cars open after the season? I question that. I just don't. Man, I don't know. It's a lot to ask. All right, I'm going to go 5 more minutes, then I'm out. That's it. There, my producer wrapped it up. Good deal. Thank you very much for joining the show. Appreciate it. Stay tuned to Sprint Car Unlimited's YouTube channel for all our content, and also to SprintCarUnlimited.com for all the news in sprint car racing for throughout the entire year, whether it's in or out of season. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned.